Welcome to episode number 270 of the Keep Up podcast.
Where every time a chair squeaks, it's just us going, wee woo, from really far away.
That's not true.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're a liar.
I'm not.
You're a bloody liar.
Nuh-uh.
And at Christmas time.
Every squeak is us going, wee woo.
Christmas time is here.
You're not looking very Christmas. Oh, Krampus. It's Christmas Eve.
I'm wearing my Krampus hoodie.
This man
That's Christmas.
always finds a way to sneak Krampus.
That's Christmas.
Dude, look at me.
I know, it's very good. It's very nice. I have 3 Christmas staples now. 4. I just ordered another one. I don't know if it's going to be here before
Staple, like
Christmas.
stapler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Christmas-themed staplers.
Gotcha.
If you guys are unaware, I have a holiday-themed stapler.
Every year, he just gives us a piece of paper with a bunch of different staples in it.
Yeah.
Not even paper stapled together.
The staples are holiday-themed as well.
Yeah. The
They're-
colors.
I was going to say that.
I mean, what else could you do?
The colors. Right. I don't know. I was trying to think of something else, I guess.
Something else.
No, I meant clothing staples.
Oh, okay.
Meaning things I can wear that are holiday-specific.
Right. What
Shirts.
do you got? Yes.
So I have my Krampus hoodie,
Right.
which I actually got for Christmas. I think last year you guys got it for me.
yeah, it's a great hoodie.
It is. It's great.
Well, zip up, not
It's
a
the
hoodie.
nicest. It's one of the nicest hoodies I own.
The nicest.
It's from. I think it's Cavity Colors. Can you see it?
Yep.
Cavity Colors. Dude,
Can confirm.
Order,
Not a sponsor.
Order hoodies. Not yet. Order hoodies from Cavity Colors. So good. So I have that. I have my Nakatomi Plaza crew neck.
Right.
I've had that for many years at this point. I got that on like something random like TeePublic or something like that.
Nothing's better than the post-Christmas sweater shopping.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's always on sale. They're like,
Always.
we can't sell this for a year, so
Right.
take it.
Take it.
Get it.
So good, dude. And then this year, I got one of my first presents already.
He got it early.
I got it early. Is my Griswold jersey from Christmas Vacation.
So cool.
It's amazing. It's the best.
Are you going to wear it year-round?
I probably not year round, but I'll wear it.
You'll pull it out every once in a while.
Yeah, here and there when
Yeah.
I'm chilling at home, and I have cousins over
Right. Just cousins.
because like cousin Eddie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Eddie?
Eddie.
And what was the fourth thing? You just got something new.
I just found online. Are you familiar with the Spawn Christmas cover?
I'm definitely not.
So it's Spawn in a Santa hat with like a Santa sack.
Yeah.
And I found a white T-shirt that's like a bootleg print. I wish I could remember the name of the company, but I can't remember it right now.
You probably, if they're bootleg, you probably don't want to give them out.
But it's like what they do is like they
But they steal the intellectual property of Spawn,
No, maybe it's 100% licensed.
but they make it in a bootleg format. I mean, 90% of the clothes we wear are bootleg anyways.
No,
Yeah.
I would never.
Never.
Bootlegs
Never.
are. I think it's funny that bootlegs have become like a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I guess they've always had. That's always kind of been a thing in art in general, like music. There were bootlegs from live concerts that aren't official releases, and that's super cool.
Yep.
Because it's like a one of a kind recording. In games now, it's like weird indie remakes of
Yes.
games and stuff like that.
That are made in a way that you're like, oh, I don't think this is
Yeah.
done. And it's like, no, that's intended.
Right.
You're like, okay.
And I used to like going to shows. There's always someone in the parking lot selling like bootleg tour shirts. So instead of $50, they're like 10.
And it's a shirt with the logo on it.
That's the thing.
And that's all you need.
It used to be like, oh, that's lame. But now I mean, at least me and a few other friends I know look to be like, if the design's cool, it's a shirt that like maybe not everyone's gonna have.
Right.
So you might snag that anyways, but also support the bands and buy the merch.
Right.
And also welcome to the Keep Up Podcast, where I'm Brett and Tim is Tim.
That's me.
And we talk about all the things we consume, be it media or food. And I guess I'll call attention to the fact that we didn't do a Christmas special this year.
Brett. It's okay.
It's fine. I'm just letting some of you know that annually we'll do a few specials.
Yes.
And this year, the sole survivor was our Halloween special.
It's the only one that made it. And it wasn't for any reason other than we just like our focus was shifted elsewhere, like growing the channel and doing different things that we just did it. But I didn't. Yeah. I'll be honest. I didn't think about it.
That's what I think you're right, that our attention was guided elsewhere because we've been focused on getting back on YouTube with a certain kind of video for the podcast, which we've done. Our first episode back in with the new format, the new video format is on YouTube. This one will be, I think we're going to do, I'm thinking Mondays we can post the video. Yeah. Podcast, if you're listening and that's your mode of the Keep Up podcast. It'll stay on Fridays as always. But episode number 269 at the time of recording this one, is our first one with the new format. Go check that out if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel. Even if you don't plan on watching the podcast, I'm always open to feedback. Would love for you to go check that out. And that's the place to respond to the podcast too. We used to do it more on Instagram, but I think YouTube makes more sense now. So
yeah,
and the numbers will coincide. Do you remember we used to have video episodes that were the same episode,
but not the same?
But they'd be numbered differently than our audio,
which was crazy.
How did we land on that?
I don't know how we justified that.
It's so weird.
It's and that's it. We're just growing. We're always growing.
We're growing boys.
But if you're upset that we didn't do the special, maybe we can do a January one and make it.
Yeah, I'd be down.
If you missed Christmas, make January the month of Christmas.
Make January the month.
Continue. It's Christmas for me because my birthday's in January. So
that's true. I
get the extended Christmas.
You were close to having that like terrible situation where it's a crossover holiday,
which I could still fall into that, but I never did, thankfully.
Yeah, it's just far enough that like I'm like, I guess I'll get Tim a present.
I guess, right? Because it could very well be, man. To all you who have birthdays on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
Just in December at all.
It's really December, you're screwed.
It's a combo gift. This is for both your birthday and Christmas.
I'm not going to see you on your birthday, or I'm not going to see you on Christmas.
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to see you is the worst. Yeah. Because it's like, you could.
You could.
You could see me.
Yeah.
You're choosing not to, and therefore cutting my gifts in half.
Terrible.
Rude.
But I lucked out.
You did.
January 22nd, baby.
Not that it's all about gifts. Tim doesn't even like presents.
No.
Dude, I love presents. I was talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
Whenever I see like a poll online, I saw this thing the other day. It was pretty cool. It was like, Christmas music or Christmas movies. And you have to like pick, all down Christmas ham or Christmas turkey. Like what's, and then it got to giving gifts or receiving gifts. And I know what the right answer is, but I also just love opening presents. It's so much fun, and it is a thrill, and it's what the joy of the unboxing is. Like you get to,
it is.
You don't know what's inside.
Yeah.
Then you open it up, and you're like, "This is amazing."
Yeah. And it's always fun to see what people think you like, and to see if they're accurate or wrong.
Yeah, right. That's fun.
Funny enough, I've actually grown to enjoy giving gifts more than receiving.
Yeah,
I still love presents.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. If someone said, "Tim, give this to a child in church," or receive this from a child in church, I would probably receive. However, family and friends, I like to see their reaction. So,
so if it's someone random, you'd rather receive.
I'll take it all day.
That actually kind of makes sense.
I don't want to give presents to random people.
I'd be nervous because what if I get it wrong?
Oh, I just get socks
for the stranger. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, socks are comfy.
Socks are food. You're probably safe.
I thought you said socks are food.
Socks can be food,
which I would disagree with greatly.
Unless, cheese socks. You put them on your feet.
No, thank you.
Work all day in them.
Stop it.
Take them off.
Hate all
Put
of
it
this.
in a sandwich later.
No.
You got snack'em sock'ems is what. So instead of sock'em boppers, they're snack'em sock'ems. More fun than a lunch fight. More fun than a food fight.
There you go.
More fun than a food fight.
What's the more fun than a pillow fight.
Right,
I wasn't sure what we were playing.
I was going. But
I couldn't
all
remember
that
the
to
theme
say,
song. Yeah.
I have grown to really love giving gifts and seeing how people react to things.
I love that too.
I like to do a mixture of like something from the list and something off the list.
Yes.
And sometimes a little more of one side or the other. So then I'm like, okay, well, they like the thing that is random that's not on their list.
Yeah.
And be excited because I'm excited about it. I'm like, they're going to be excited.
Right. And you're the perfect situation is when you can get the the padding gift when
Yes.
you know, all right, I got them this. I know they're gonna love this,
Right.
And then I got them this weird thing that
experimental
I
gift.
think they're gonna like it. I actually, so we gave some of the first gifts of the year. We had a little get together the other day. I was actually kind of bummed because I don't think I did a very good job.
Why?
There wasn't a ton of reaction, which is fine. But it was a moment where I was like, oh, I really do love giving gifts. I can tell by how bummed I am right now that I think I didn't give
I thought you did good.
I feel like maybe, but it just wasn't like an exciting... It made sense when I was shopping.
Yeah.
Maybe they liked it more
That's
than
the thing. It's one of those, like, some people aren't very vocal about their gifts.
And that's fine.
You know?
It's fine. It's not what it's about.
Right. It's not.
It's not.
I mean, I killed it, apparently.
It crushed it.
I crushed
Absolutely
it.
crushed it.
But it's not about who gives the best gifts.
No, it's about who
receives them the best.
That's right. So I'm really blaming the receivers of my gifts for ruining Christmas for me, is what we're saying.
It's over.
And you know, as much as this isn't a Christmas special, it's going to be very holiday
for sure.
centric.
It's all that's all we've been consuming.
Yeah,
is
it's good
Christmas
stuff.
Things.
Do you have anything else in the intro here before we move into
the bulletin board?
Yeah.
Nothing else. Merry holidays, everyone.
So let's go into this. Yeah. What's on the bulletin board?
Welcome to the board.
This is Tim's territory.
That bulletin Tim's.
I'm leaving.
Brett just leaves. Hold on, I need papers.
We should get you those.
Papers? So when I do the bulletin board, I can look more
you should.
professional.
Now that we're regularly going to be on a video format.
Yeah, I got to have props.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, I have the best prop right here.
The Great Plapatus?
Nothing.
Oh, wow. I thought you were really getting something.
Nah.
You
Sometimes I think that far ahead, but not in this case. And also, welcome. I don't really have an intro for this segment, I guess.
Well, you do. I made it for you.
Right, but you don't
have to...
But the transition, I see it as a transition, not an intro.
Oh, so it's like stupid questions where you have to explain it. So the bulletin board is where Tim brings us some fresh news.
Some fresh, spicy news. Usually on the controversial scale, but somewhere in the entertainment realm.
That has been the trend. It's a relatively young segment. So.
Yeah, because it's hard for me to justify something to talk about and not put it in a different category.
Right, because a lot of times it does have to do with, a category of a medium we already discuss regularly.
But
this is breaking.
This is breaking. This is as soon as today. But for you guys, it'll be a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Who knows how it's going to end up.
You're so behind, losers.
Come on, get caught up. So, nothing says Christmas more than surprises.
Right.
Surprises, waiting for said surprises, the excitement of surprise.
Right. Yeah.
However, today, surprises were ruined.
Oh, no.
Lives changed.
Uh-oh.
You know Insomniac?
Yes.
The developers of recently Spider-Man 2, but also the creators of Spyro, the original
Sunset Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive.
The game rules.
Ratchet and Clank. They have a great history.
Great
of
resume, yeah.
So last week, they got a threat.
Oh, we don't like that.
From hackers.
That's very bad Christmas etiquette.
Yeah, it's not Christmassy at all.
No, it's not.
It's so messed up. So the hackers were they hacked Insomniac servers. They got about a terabyte worth of information.
That's a lot.
That is huge because a lot of them are files and pictures. Granted, there are some videos in there, so that might take up more bulk than one.
That's true, yeah.
But a terabyte of information is a lot.
Yeah.
So they threatened that they were going to just release all the information they stole to the public unless they get paid $2 million.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So this is just this is like just a supervillain moment.
Yeah.
Where they're holding something hostage. That's crazy that really happens.
That's a real thing, especially to a company that up to this point has only done good things. Like they don't have any controversies at this point. I know words are tough. And they've only made like really good games and stuff. So it's a weird thing to target, especially considering there are so many millions of other better targets out there.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the successful one's the one you target for a monetary hostage,
I guess like
right?
$2 million to them might, in the hacker's mind, be like, they've made that, hand over fist with Spider-Man. They just released Spider-Man 2, so it's like, I bet they got a bunch of money.
I know, it almost seems like it's not that much.
Yeah, but also $2 million is a lot.
Oh, it's a life-changing amount.
Right, I don't know how a company can justify, giving money away like that.
No, you don't. I mean, I think that's the hostage situation mindset where you're like, it's not an outlandish number, but also like the movie never ends with them just being like, all right, here's your $2 million.
Right.
Because if it works, you just keep doing that.
Right. They're like, well, we'll just release it next week unless you give us more money. Or they'll go and release it anyways.
Right.
So Insomniac chose not to give them their money. I think they had until Friday. And today being Tuesday, they have since released everything. So Insomniac is now, we already knew they were working on a Wolverine game.
Yeah.
A bunch of footage and gameplay and scripts.
The hackers released everything.
Everything. So you know, for the morality of it, I'm not going to list like all the things that were leaked and released. One, because you know, as a gamer, I would love to have been surprised by these things that are coming out.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so it's one of those things that takes the wind out of the sails for both the developers and us.
So we don't want to do that for anyone who's not.
Exactly. If you want to go look it up, you can. It's kind of a gray area because it's like these were obtained illegally. They were released illegally, and now publisher or news outlets around the world are publishing it as like breaking news because they want the clicks. And it's like, it's on the one, like, I know on the one hand, and I will say I did look at it all, so I'm also evil in this scenario, but because it is a curiosity thing, and that information's just out there, and it's going to be very difficult to avoid. That's the other thing is IGN reported it, people for all over Twitter, famous people and the likes. So it is tough.
It's such a fascinating situation though, because you're right in the implication here. If none of the new, like, okay, the threat is we're going to release all the information.
Yes.
If nobody shares or consumes the information, the threat is empty.
Right.
But there's no chance people don't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
If people can report on Insomniac's game plans all the way up till 2032.
That's insane.
You know, their plans for games, their plans for and not even, you know, to not even look at Insomniac. They had a bunch of private Sony files.
Wow.
They had a bunch of important like numbers and stuff from games. They even had personal information from all the people working at Insomniac. So
That's
their passports,
scary.
all that information is out there. And it's messed up because like it's one thing to leak a game and to like show like a little gameplay or a picture or something. You know, there's a little excitement for it. And Wolverine is one that people knew about. But when you go to this like level where now the whole script's released and you're endangering the lives of people by releasing their information like that, it's just like there's no one wins there.
No, that's such a bummer. Mm-hmm. So now they've released it. They didn't get the money. What happens now, you think? Like
they could I don't know.
Like, do they just continue to release more and more? The personal info is definitely scary.
They released it all.
Did they release the personal info?
Yeah, everything.
Wow.
Yep. It's all released. So it's just out there in the world. So the bad people have the bad stuff because a lot of people aren't sharing the private details, like news outlets and stuff. They're just sharing the game information.
The games and stuff,
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing on the opposite end of the spectrum is I wonder how it'll affect the games industry as a whole.
Right.
Because there were private conversations with Sony and their developers, and there's just so much information and how like Sony views Microsoft and just all this crazy information that Sony probably doesn't want people at Xbox to know or anybody to know.
And when you say numbers, was it like game performances?
Yeah, game sales, and some of those numbers are drastically different than what they reported. So they said like so-and-so game sold 2 million to 3 million, and realistically it sold 7 million. So don't know what the benefit is to that, and vice versa.
That doesn't look great.
I haven't seen anything as extreme as the 7 million to the 2 to 3 million.
Yeah.
And I don't think they, I just said, but I don't think they did the opposite. I don't think they ever said a game sold more than it actually did, because they would get in a lot of trouble for that. So they didn't do that, but they did it the other way where it sold a lot, but they said it sold less.
They said less.
Or only announced that maybe, and this is why it's all so much information, because you don't know when they did this.
Right,
so like, the game that they said sold 2 to 3 million, they might have sold that much at the time, and now
when they reported it.
Right,
yeah,
and now the worldwide numbers are much bigger.
And this is the problem, is it becomes so much speculation.
Yep.
different random platforms talking about it and stuff like
and
that.
They just don't know when it was written. They don't know who wrote it. So, I mean, that's the thing. You're going to see so much of this information out here.
Yeah.
Because there are many reporters and many journalists because they just want, their 15 minutes of fame. They want to be the one to report on it. They want to get everyone to look at their website. So it's sad because it's like a pig pile on Insomniac, and they didn't even do anything.
I know.
So now all of their information's out there. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious if this is going to affect anything. If games are going to get delayed, if they're going to get changed, if we're going to have a complete restructuring. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. They'll be talking about this for a while. I feel like because some changes will happen, but also I don't know. Maybe Insomniac doesn't get hurt. I mean, they're a massive studio, obviously.
Yeah, so right, that's the thing. It's not like the only thing it could affect, to my knowledge, is like investors. Because like having these, although they probably show what they're doing so they can get invested.
Right. I mean, hopefully this is the worst part of it. Maybe it's crazy to think this, but maybe the worst part of it is just the stress of knowing that someone was in the system and had all this stuff. Like, I can't imagine what this last week felt like.
Oh, yeah.
Being under a threat like that and being like, what do they have?
Right. Plus, all the people working there, who knows if they're going to quit because they want to go keep their identity secret. That
stuff's scary. And it's like...
Or private.
You wonder, does anybody do anything with that information? Like, obviously there's a lot of people out there stealing identity. Like, identity theft's a big deal. So if it's made that public and it's that easy, I guess maybe obviously that's a big problem.
Yeah. But right, and it's like it's one of those things you're like, are there really that many people out there? But yeah, you got a full list of people, their names, their where they live, their passport, which has all their information on it.
Yeah.
You get one guy. You can get one guy who'll take all that information and try to sell these identities. Like, just having it out there is not great.
Man, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
That's not Christmas.
No, it's not Christmassy. So very annoying. So, my heart goes out to Insomniac and everyone there because it's unfortunate just because, no one deserves that.
No.
Unless they're a really evil, greedy corporation that's eating turtles every day.
Right, live turtles.
Yeah. Then they deserve it. But
yes, as far as we know, that's not Insomniac. Right.
So if you guys want to see the information, it is out there. As a big fan of Insomniac, it's cool to see what they have planned.
Yeah.
But it is a shame that we just had to find out this way, as opposed to them announcing it in due time. And not in such a disastrous way for everybody involved.
I say, don't look.
Yeah.
Don't be a Tim.
Yeah, don't be me.
Don't look.
Don't be me.
I take a hard stance against spoilers.
That's the thing. They're everywhere.
That includes hacked spoilers.
Especially hacked spoilers.
Especially. That's top of the list of spoilers I will not take part in.
Yep.
Dude, I avoided The Last of Us spoilers for like 12 years.
Incredible.
If I can do that... You can do your part to not support these hackers.
Thanks for doing your part.
You sure are smart. I just got a Blue's Clues shirt. I'm not wearing it, dude. That's not Christmas. Do you have other Christmas sweaters or just this Sonic one?
I have a Snoopy one, and then just like a generic one. But it's very small, so I don't wear it. Yep.
Oh my gosh, it happened again. Oh, again. Not again. What a way to end the bulletin board.
Always.
Is that it?
That's all I got this week.
That's all we got this week on the bulletin board. TV. Television. I have to talk about this now because it'll quickly become irrelevant.
Yes.
Well, that's debatable.
We're the Keep Up podcast.
That's
It'll never be irrelevant.
Never.
We're always keeping up.
That's the thing about the Keep Up. I could have kept it going, but I just wanted Tim to finish his sip.
Sippy.
'Tis the season to watch the Powerepuff Girls.
Dun, 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 dun. Can you hear my chair squeaking?
It's so loud right next to me that I can't tell if I'm hearing it in the headphones. But probably.
Okay, it's like I don't mean to do it intentionally. It's just because
it's fine. It's not a podcast ruiner or anything.
Yeah.
You're fine.
So, Powerepuff Girls.
The Fight Before Christmas.
The Fight Before Christmas.
It is currently on Netflix as a standalone episode. It's like 40 minutes or so.
Also, why is it not on HBO Max?
I don't know. I mean, it might also be. There's a bunch of weird stuff going on with the streaming platforms, and it's not just like how weird Prime has always been. That's normally the go-to for criticism.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's the movie you wanted to watch. It's unavailable everywhere.
Right.
But I don't know. It's very confusing.
Here, you can pay for it, or you can rent it. You can buy it. It's available on this app. Or if you give me your left toe, we'll give you 20 minutes.
Or it's like, it'll be like, this is available on Shudder.
Yeah.
Do you have, but it's like okay, I have Shudder. Yeah, but you don't have Shudder through Prime.
Right. You have just the Shudder app, which is different. And you're like, just let me watch this.
Please, what do I have to do? This year, there are, I think I mentioned it previously, but you can find a lot of like Christmas classics. You can find Elf, you can find Christmas Vacation, and they're on Hulu. I think some are also on HBO or on Paramount. I can't tell. I literally have to go to like 3 different streaming services to find what I'm looking for because I know it's on there somewhere. But I don't know if Powerepuff Girls is also on other streamers. It probably is. But it's definitely on Netflix. And they also have the full series on there.
Oh, cool.
I'm almost sure I'd seen it before. But I just threw it on the other day. We finished a movie, and I was still chilling and wanting to watch something Christmassy, but not a full movie. Sometimes you don't have all that time.
You just got to get a Christmas short in.
You know, so I was looking at like recently added or whatever on there. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah.
With the clicking
With
and
the
searching.
clicky and the clacky.
And I found this, and I put it on, and I got to tell you, man, it's a keeper.
It's a keeper.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Now, does it... Because my memory of it is it's more modern. Like, in the sense of it was made, like, way after the show was
It did feel that way. I can't remember when the show aired, but we actually... Yeah, Tim, if you could look that up.
Yep.
Recently started the show because I just wanted to go through and watch it. And having jumped to this, the animation is so much better.
Yes.
But it's still like the older ratio. It doesn't...
Aspect ratio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So, show finished in 2004.
Oh, this was like
2003. Twas the Fight Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I felt like it came out in like 2008.
I don't know. I mean, they did. Obviously, there was other Powerpuff Girls stuff later, but this was... So it was at the tail end. That's why the animation looked better. But... Yeah, so 2003, it is... I was going to ask you, what makes an older cartoon rewatchable for you? Because... You know, I'm watching it. Obviously, it's not made for me my age now. But this is repeatedly a show that when I go back and watch it, when I watch the specials, Dexter's like this too.
Yeah.
They hold up, and I've realized it's so much due to the self-aware humor.
Okay.
That's what holds up later on. Because you're going back and being like, I know I'm watching a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
But the self-aware humor is like... I told you this. One of my favorite quotes in this episode is the professor's messing around with some Christmas lights and they keep going out on him. And he goes, he's like, every year with these darn lights, I can make 3 human children out of seasoning, but I can't get these lights to stay on. And that, I laughed so loud because it's just so like, I don't know.
The humor is more smart. You know, it's more because nowadays, and you know, even like in the last 10 years or whatever, humor has been more random. It's been more like I don't know. It just feels smarter in the older stuff. To a degree, like Ed, Edd and Eddy there's no like smart humor there. It's just them slapping each other and dumb sound effects.
Right. It's just so dumb slapstick cartoon humor.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, what makes me go back is nostalgia for sure.
100%. That's where it always starts for me. But we've talked about how sometimes nostalgia is not enough because you go back and you're like, oh, I should not have revisited this. But Powerpuff Girls is one for me that I'm like, I'm really glad I came back and watched this.
Yep.
And I'm sure the answers will vary. Like when you go back to, I went back to Gargoyles and I was like, the story is actually pretty good. The animation's cool.
That's the thing. There's just like, when you go back, sometimes you get a stinker. Yeah. Sometimes you get good quality because they made it in a way where they actually cared about it.
Yeah.
Where the things that stink, you can just tell, like, I don't know, maybe just there wasn't heart there, or what was good about it back then doesn't translate to what's good to you now as an adult.
And there are some things that are fully fueled by nostalgia, and that is good enough because you got to put yourself back there.
Yeah.
But Powerpuff Girls is one of those cartoons where I'll watch it and you remember, oh yeah, like adults made this.
Yes.
And their humor comes through. And it's just, it very much holds up for me. So I would recommend Twas the Fight Before Christmas.
Yeah.
It is about the, what's her name? The
Princess.
Yeah, Princess Morbucks.
Yes.
Yeah. She wants to be a Powerpuff Girl. So she ventures to the North Pole. and changes the naughty list to the nice list.
No.
And the nice list.
Don't say it.
To the naughty list. Oh yeah, dude. Listen, it's the truth.
You're spoiling it. First off,
that's the
sure synopsis
plot. It's not
premise,
a spoiler.
Whatever,
Yeah.
Brett. Can't believe it.
And then, oh man.
And then craziness happens.
And then when Bubbles finds Cole,
because the girls must be at the top of the naughty list. If things get swapped,
they get swapped
because they're just good. There's sugar, spice, and
literally everything nice.
Everything nice.
Yeah.
So they're at the top of the nice list.
And Chemical X.
Right, but we all need performance-enhancing drugs every now and again.
'Twas the Fight Before Christmas.
Yes.
Keeper. You got anything in TV?
No.
Let's go to movies.
Movies!
Ooh, let's go to the movies.
They call me Senor Wigglefinger because my finger always be wiggling.
Big fan of the audio-only version for this portion.
Ooly looly.
Ooly looly?
Ooly looly. Sonic music. Ooly looly indeed. Brett, we watched a couple of Christmas movies.
We did.
Independent of each other.
Yeah.
Well, at least one we didn't plan on both watching.
That is correct.
And then the other one you said, Tim, if you don't watch this, Christmas is dead.
Yeah.
So I watched the other one.
But
let's start with some action.
let's do it.
Dun 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 action. That's for the video.
It's pretty good.
Anywho, Brett, this movie,
Yeah.
I keep forgetting the name of.
Yeah, you just keep calling it Silent Night.
But I remembered it now.
And the movie's called
Fright Night.
Wow.
Nope. Twas the night before Christmas.
Can you not remember it?
Fight Night.
Are you serious? Are you seriously? The confidence with which you just said Fight Night is baffling to me.
Violent Night.
Violent Night.
I want to see how many times I could say it until I messed up.
That's pretty good.
I don't know why I can't remember the name of this movie.
I don't know. The other day in conversation, you just kept.
I knew it wasn't the name.
You did know that?
No, I didn't. Like I knew that I knew it wasn't the right name.
I knew it wasn't the name.
But I knew if I said it
Yeah.
wrong, you would correct me.
You just kept saying different stuff.
Yeah.
Though. And
because I couldn't remember.
It was like in Christmas Vacation when Clark's boss keeps calling him a different name.
Yeah.
But it never stops.
You're right.
Like the conversation. That's what it was like for you. You just kept saying different things. I was like, all right, I think I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, probably.
So this movie came out, it was last year.
Last year, yep.
And it really speaks to my disinterest in watching something outside of its like holiday season because I wanted to see it very badly.
Dude, it was on Amazon Prime like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I wanted to watch this. And then I waited until Christmas.
Yeah, just waited. And I needed to catch it before the season came and went.
Right, because I couldn't wait a whole nother year, personally.
That's madness. Not that we'd have to, but
No.
it feels...
Right, it just doesn't feel right.
It feels.
You know, it feels.
It feels.
So what'd you think of it?
I really liked it.
Really liked it.
I had a lot of fun with it. I think it had a surprising amount of heart and was so overtly violent that it walked right into comedic territory. So it is hilariously violent and also heartwarming.
Yeah.
So those two things combined, I really liked. And also... obviously, I really like. Those are two great things. But those are things that I personally really love. Comedic levels of violence, when it's, that level of awareness that it has, which we'll talk about. And it also did some very, very clever things, referencing other Christmas movies.
Which that, hands down, is my favorite aspect of
Gotta be. It was so good, and you're so far into the movie when it happens. We'll get more specific here in a minute. What did you think of it overall?
I enjoyed it. I felt like it was a little too long.
Sure. It was lengthy.
There was like a good portion where there was like no real combat happening.
Yeah.
And I felt like he was doing a lot of sneaking around without actually doing anything. And I thought it would be more like just rapid fire action.
Yeah, they do make you wait for it a little bit,
right? And that's fine. It just felt like it was a little longer than I would have liked, but yeah. Otherwise, I agree with you. It's the level of violence is very comedic. David Harbour as Santa is
so good.
So funny.
It's very funny.
Yeah, he was perfect for that role.
Every time I see him in something else, because Stranger Things was my introduction to him.
Yep.
I'm like, he's so great.
He is.
Like, he's just a very good actor, and he just, I think he's like second only to Kurt Russell's Santa to me.
It's so funny because I was like, the only other person who could play this character, I think, is Kurt Russell.
And I would love to see Kurt Russell in this one.
Right.
Like, that would be so great. I want a crossover of those Santas.
Yeah.
If you are unfamiliar with the plot, Violent Night is David Harbour as Santa Claus, and he's out Christmas Eve doing his thing.
Doing his Christmas thing.
And he comes across a family who is being held hostage by a slew of criminals with guns. And who better to defend this family from these criminals than Saint Nick himself?
Than Santa Claus.
And from the trailer right away, like, you know what it's going to be. And I think because it is sold so much as what we see mostly in the second half of the movie is why it feels like it takes a little while to get there. But I will say I really enjoyed, like, the opening scene is one of my favorites with him in the bar.
Yes.
And they do take time to have you get to know this Santa.
Which, let's take a little magnifying glass
Let's
here.
do it.
Santa Claus is one of the most fascinating characters in, like, all of, at least cinema in this case. Because you can have so many different versions of this character.
I know.
You still know the general premise. You know who he is. But they're always so different from one another.
There are these little changes to his backstory, and especially recent years. He's almost like... Santa lore is like vampire lore.
It kind of is.
It's like, all right, what kind do we have in this movie?
Yeah.
You know,
because then you look at Klaus, you look at like every Santa Claus movie, or a movie with Santa Claus. Can he live forever?
Right.
Does he have magical powers?
Yep.
Like, what can he do?
In the Santa Claus, he just, when one dies, another one just like puts on the suit.
It just inherits his abilities.
Real quick.
Yes.
If you haven't seen the Santa Claus, this is, a little bit of a spoiler, but it came out 100 years ago.
Tim Allen would approve.
Yes, Tim Allen's fine with this. Yeah. And it's,
as a Tim, I can say for Tim Allen, he approves.
We got the Tim pass.
Yeah.
The way he becomes Santa Claus in that is they knock Santa Claus off the roof, right? Or they scare him off the roof.
Right.
And he fades away. And the rest of that movie, like, he obviously had a connection to the elves. Like, he was Santa Claus.
Right. He was a guy who would, like, he would talk to everybody.
No one mourns his loss even a little bit in that movie. Now, I haven't kept up with the Santa Clauses. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The show that's on Disney Plus right now. So I don't know if they ever mentioned that, but we watched it recently and I was like, there's just a new, like, he goes back to the North Pole and they're like, you're the new guy.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, I guess to them, it's just like a job. So he just got, like, replaced.
But then Tim Allen's Santa Claus, like, Scott Calvin becomes like he definitely builds a relationship with, like,
as Scott Calvin, not as Santa Claus.
I guess. But then I feel like if Scott dies, they're not going to be like, all right, yeah, the old guy's gone. Yeah. I don't know.
It's
you know
the
what?
Next one.
He's another pretty decent Santa Claus, actually.
Yeah, he does pretty good.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. But David Harbour, so good.
Good time.
And it's so funny that you mentioned that because this movie definitely did make me hone in on the, like, because you know what happens is this opens up and he's in a bar and he's kind of lamenting his job as Santa Claus and it's just not what it used to be. And your brain does a thing where you're like, are we allowed to have this kind of Santa Claus? Like,
right.
Can this be? And it's like, yeah, I guess there's nothing that says he has to love it every year.
No.
You know? And that is a really interesting, want to see, I'm ready for more.
Yeah.
It's like every time they recast Batman, I'm like, oh, what's this one going to be like?
What's this new Santa got?
The thing that we mentioned or referenced earlier, that is a reference to another movie. Do you feel like it's okay to talk about? Like,
I think, I think it's
kind of a reveal. Like, there's a part in the movie where you're like, oh, they're gonna do this.
Yeah, because they kind of what's the word? Foreshadow it kind of early.
Yes,
at least in a way where you're like, oh, they recognize other Christmas movies exist in this world. And then when you get to when they pay an homage to it, it is a big part, and it's kind of a surprise. You don't see it coming.
No.
So maybe not.
Maybe we don't say it.
But if you're familiar with Christmas movies,
yeah,
and there is a conversation that happens probably yearly when it comes to this particular movie.
Yes.
About what would happen if this were real life.
Yeah.
This movie shows you what would happen.
Yes. And you might be able to just infer that, like
Yes.
what that means. But it's like, you're right. It's an annual conversation.
Right.
Because this movie's an annual watch. So to see it brought to life in this movie is equal parts funny and brutal.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most endearing thing to me about it is it's just a lot of fun. By the end of it, it was just, and there's an ongoing thread of like, there's Christmas magic. Nobody really knows how it works, but the awareness of that makes it all okay.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just, I had a really good time throughout the whole thing. There were a couple comedic angles like with the family that I didn't think landed super hard.
Yeah, there were some like weird, specifically near the end, there was one part where they like needed to like keep a fire going. Do you remember that? The very end.
Yeah.
And it just, there was no point to it. I don't get why they did it at all.
Yes, you're right.
Because it didn't do anything.
That whole part was kind of awkward.
Yeah, it just had like a couple like weird. I was like, why would they do that? So I don't know. Maybe there was an intention for it, and it just didn't make it. But yeah, it was fun. It's the magic element was not as strong as I thought they would do, but there were moments.
In the fighting and stuff?
Yes. Because I was curious, like, okay, what can he do in combat? And he really doesn't use magic very often.
No, they give him a backstory that lends to why he can even stand his ground against all of these. And they do some clever things like isolating him with a big group of the bad guys all at once. And so I thought that was good that there was attention paid to those details. It technically makes sense that he could survive all these guys with guns,
right?
You know, without being a gun wielding Santa.
Exactly.
Yeah. You were gonna say something else. What was it?
Nothing. Just
don't say nothing and then say a thing.
That's what I'm doing. I'm nothing except for Santa's toy sack.
Yes,
I thought that was cool.
That was very cool. Yeah, they use every element of the Santa Claus lore. In just a movie unlike one I feel like we've really seen before.
Would you like to see a sequel?
Yeah. I'd watch one.
I think so too.
Yep. Yeah, I think a sequel could be really good because this one was a little bit, it had to do some setup that we wouldn't need in the second one.
Yeah.
You know? And sometimes it makes for a sequel that is either, maybe not better, but has a quicker rhythm in a movie like this.
Right, because you don't need the backstory as much.
Yeah.
You don't need to explain as much.
Yeah. Couple other notable things about this movie from the producers of John Wick and John Leguizamo. I didn't even realize he was in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's great. I just love whenever he pops up. And I can't say more than that. But there are some highlight moments in this.
Yes.
That it's definitely a keeper. Definitely worth a watch.
For sure, a keeper.
Highly recommend. Violent Night. Currently for free on Prime. Or
is it for free?
Well, if you have a Prime, I just mean it's not. I can't even talk about movies on Prime because if you have Prime, it doesn't mean you can watch it for free necessarily.
Right.
Die Hard was on there. I had to rent Die Hard again. I need to just buy it. I started making a list of movies that like I need to just own because
I'm surprised you don't.
I know, but it's because I don't know why it is. I used to have it on VHS, and it's just one that I've never. I mean, so long. I haven't had a VCR, and I don't know how long.
Do I have it on VHS? I don't think I do, but
I think you have the trilogy out there.
Really?
It's either that or the Star Wars. It's on your shelf out there. It's like I do. But dude, I found a bag of VHS downstairs that I just collect them because they're cool.
Yeah,
I haven't watched one in forever because I don't have a VHS player.
Dude, I think we have two.
Do we? Do you?
Do we?
Do we?
Do we?
I have a whatever. I made a list of movies the other day that are like my like nostalgic go-tos and or ones that I try to watch annually and I have to search for it because the point I didn't even finish saying is Die Hard was on I think Hulu like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then I went to watch it and it's gone.
Why would they remove it in December?
Dude, because they know.
Someone else. It must be somewhere else.
Because you're scrolling through. No, I looked. I had to rent it for $3.
Messed up.
I would have bought it, but I would rather own it.
It is one of those things where you think you have access to these movies all the time, and then when you actually want to go and watch it, if you don't own it, you might not be able to find it.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's funny to think about because there's a lot of movies that I'm like, oh, I'd like to watch this again. And luckily, I have an okay Blu-ray collection of like my favorites.
It's a good one.
Or ones that I feel like are necessary if I ever want to watch something.
Right.
Do I ever pull them out or use them? Nah, it's just like a rainy day. But like I have like Lord of the Rings, so I don't have to worry about it. If all streaming services die, I got it.
Exactly.
So yeah, you should get them. You should.
I'm gonna get them, dude. I made a list.
Checking it twice.
I will check it probably multiple times.
Speaking of checking things,
tell me.
In lists, the other movie we both witnessed, with our eyeballs.
Yes,
Brett. What's the name of this film?
The Man Who Invented Christmas,
which is quite the title.
It's quite the title
because I want to know how accurate this movie is to Christmas lore. Was Christmas not big until Charles Dickens made it big? Was it a Christmas Carol that brought Christmas?
Yeah, I do have
Christmas
similar questions about that.
Christmas. Yeah.
Eddie?
Christmas?
Eddie. Lewis. The Man Who Invented Christmas is about Charles Dickens writing A Christmas Carol.
Right.
And it is, I think, one of my favorite Christmas movies now.
Your favorite?
One of. I think it's masterfully done. I think it is a story beautifully told. And it is a way of watching A Christmas Carol that is, I think, one of the most overdone. I mean, it's got to be the most adapted Christmas story.
Oh, for sure. You type in A Christmas Carol anywhere, you'll get 30 different versions.
So many. I mean, off the top of my head, there's the Muppet one. There's the one with Jim Carrey. Yep. There's the original live action one.
I think Disney did it 4 times.
Seriously?
The Jim Carrey one, the Disney, like the first, like Disney Christmas Carol.
Oh, yeah.
They did. I think they have all these different adaptations.
Yeah, there's so many. And obviously a wonderful story. But this one is, you are experiencing the story of A Christmas Carol, but it is depicted as Charles Dickens meeting his characters for the first time.
Yes.
And he's essentially like, he interviews them. But at the same time, you're learning about Dickens' life story in that time of his life. And exactly what you're talking about was one of my questions. One of the themes of the story is that his publishers are like, why are you focusing a book on Christmas? It's like a minor holiday. It's not a big deal. And I don't know if that's...
I just always assumed, like, I know Christmas has transformed over the years.
Sure.
And, America really Americanized it and made it into what it is today. But it's fascinating. It makes me want to look up more. But the story itself, I really love the parallel between Charles Dickens and A Christmas Carol and
his
how
characters.
There are moments in his life that then become moments in the book.
Yeah.
And you're essentially watching 2 stories
right.
intertwine with one another.
Right.
And it's a super fascinating watch. It does, I think, heavily require you to know the Christmas Carol story, but I don't think there's many people out there who don't know it.
Yeah. I was thinking that because this year was the second time I've watched it. And having just watched a Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yes.
It is literally like, it's really fresh in my head while I'm watching it. And that was such a confusing way to say what I'm about to say.
I can't wait.
I had just watched Muppet Christmas Carol.
Right.
And then watching The Man Who Invented Christmas, they're saying lines, like people in Charles Dickens' life are saying lines that are from A Christmas Carol, but I only know that because it's fresh in my head. So to that end, I definitely think it's, this is a movie that you're so rewarded for knowing A Christmas Carol. But to your point, I don't know who doesn't know it that would be watching this movie first.
Right.
But that would be interesting.
Yeah, it's like kids would be your best bet. Like, hey, watch this first.
Yeah.
And then watch what he made.
But isn't there a Mickey Christmas Carol movie?
Oh, yeah.
There is, right?
Yeah, there's it's just, I think
Is that the Disney one you were talking about?
Yeah, there was Disney's Christmas Carol. That's the one with Scrooge. Who plays
Scrooge McDuck.
Who plays
that's
Scrooge.
right, of course.
There's a Flintstones one. There's, you go through the list.
Crazy.
There's so many.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But yeah, this movie, I agree with you. It's incredible.
You liked it?
Yeah, I thought it was really awesome.
Okay, I thought you would really like it.
Yeah. It was, I felt like there was going to be songs. Like it felt musically.
Doesn't it feel that way?
Like a musical.
Yeah, it felt musically.
It felt musically. But yeah, it was, the characters were great. I do wish... again, it's not the like a negative, but it kind of is. Do you feel like it wraps up very like quick and too cleanly at the end? Because like throughout the whole movie, he's being very Scrooge-like.
Right.
And he tries to make amends. Does things like the Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's all so like, hey, bye. Like,
are you saying like it comes to a close quickly, or
and
it feels too clean?
It feels too clean. I feel like when it wraps up, I'm like, I feel like they needed like just a little bit more time for him to make amends or do whatever he needs to do to rectify things.
Yeah, I guess I could see how there could be more. That is part of, I think, what left me with wondering how accurate some of it was, because they do give you a post-film like title card that tells you some of the truth of like how charity was changed by this book coming out. And that, I think, is so powerful, because it's like that is allegedly a true statement. And it just speaks to the power of art. And I think that's another thing that's really rewarding and fun about this movie, is watching an artist create, and the way it's depicted is really wonderful. Like you mentioned, things that are happening in his life happen in the story. So you're watching him essentially collect pieces of the story before it exists. And that is just so cool to watch. And the way they show him, he'll have a conversation, then he'll be walking home, repeating the sentence that the person said to him over and over again, because he's trying to hold it in his mind.
Especially like as creatives, like we can speak to that and relate to it.
Yep.
And it is super fascinating to see like a visualization of how his brain works.
Yeah, it's so relatable in those moments, and also cool to see such a well-known author in what seems like a realistic depiction. His struggles in trying to find a quiet place to write, but then people interrupting him and inspiring his story. Like it's just a really well told story. The movie is and I also like, we mentioned in our, I have realized recently one of the things that makes a really great Christmas movie to me is it's got to be relatively feel good. What are you doing? Tim's dancing, dude.
I was making it feel good.
It was great. I love it. And this movie, I think, has a lot of moments where it feels like it could be a drama in a way, in like a sad way,
right?
And I don't feel like it ever goes in a way where I felt really sad.
No, the movie has such a joyful tone throughout.
Even though there are some relationships that are really grating and tiresome, it never feels like, even as dark as A Christmas Carol gets.
Yeah, right.
Which I thought was interesting, because there's in the same way it kind of felt like it could be a musical. There were moments where I'm like, I'm waiting for the other foot to drop, and make it just be like, oh, here's where it's dark and sad and all his kids die or whatever.
But what of Tiny Tim?
But yeah, exactly. Yeah. But overall, it's a really well told story. That's the thing that I was left with, is like, man, that was a good movie.
That was, it left me hopeful that humanity one day can go back to what Christmas was about before now.
Couldn't have said it myself, Tim.
Christmas.
Couldn't have said it.
That's why you didn't.
Right.
And I did.
I'm so glad you did. Keeper,
for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Did we watch? It's very busy upstairs.
I know. There's parties going on.
It sounds like the beginning of Home Alone up there.
It's beginning to look a lot
better.
I'm out.
You don't even want to get to the high pitch part.
Okay.
You don't even want to go through the entire first verse. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Now do the high pitch one.
And I can't.
I always just scream.
I am dreaming of a white Christmas.
Anyways,
that's Christmas for you.
That's Christmas. One weird thing.
Yeah.
I watched Die Hard the other day.
And you still think it's a freaking Christmas movie?
It's a Christmas movie, dude. It ends with a Christmas song and the credits roll.
Have you watched the other Die Hard movies?
Yes. I remember them almost zero.
Yeah. Are any of them Christmas movies? I haven't seen any of them, so.
Hopefully all of them.
Okay.
I don't know, actually.
If it keeps the Christmas
You know what's funny?
theme?
Are they? Because if they are, then Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie.
If all of them are Christmassy?
Yeah. What if they kept the theme?
What if only one of them's Christmassy?
If they're not, well, if it's the second one, then the first one's definitely Christmassy.
Uh-huh.
If they're not Christmassy, that actually works against my my theory that it's a Christmas movie.
Right, because if the sequels don't also take place during Christmas.
Or is that just the Christmas one? Terrifier 3 is going to be a Christmas movie. They're not all Christmas movies.
What other time has a movie been a Christmas movie in a
And the rest of them aren't?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
right?
I guess you could do like the Star Wars Christmas special, but...
Sure, Guardians Christmas special, but they're specials.
Right, and they're not movies. But
What's the Guardians one called? Is it just the Guardians holiday special?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So, I don't know, but it's just an interesting thought to think about.
Die Hard's a Christmas movie, bro. It's a Christmas party.
Yeah.
Christmas song at the end when the credits roll.
Okay.
They're putting on Christmas music on the way.
So you're telling me if I make a movie and it's snowing outside, I play a Christmas song at the credits. Movie has nothing to do with like anything Christmas. It's a horror movie, in fact.
Krampus.
Not Krampus. No, people are dying. It's just like a winter. It's just like a winter landscape.
Yeah.
And the Christmas song fits. So like.
Okay, that's if you did that. I would take the Christmas song to be like humorous.
Okay, as a way to be like, hey, it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
But not a Christmas movie.
Not necessarily. I haven't seen the movie.
Okay, I'll make the movie and we'll get back to it.
Yeah, you let me know. I'll tell you if it makes the lineup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That does make sense. All right, I guess we're done here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. This has been episode number 270 of the Keep Up Podcast.
30 away from having 300 people on our podcast.
That's kind of nuts.
That's going to be episode 300.
Oh, we're having 300 guests. That would rule.
That would be crazy.
It would be so
Everyone
crazy.
would get 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds. What do you got to say? See ya.
Yeah, that's what would be fun about it. We just set up a mic. They walk in, say something, and then they leave.
Wow, that would be crazy to get together. Do we know 300 people collectively?
I don't know. That'd be tough. I mean, we could probably pull together 300 people. We have to pull from family.
Yeah.
Old school friends that we haven't seen in a million years, bosses.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, work acquaintances.
What are the chances that we could get all of them to come here? That's the real question.
Very bad.
Yeah.
The chances are very bad.
Maybe 30 people.
Listeners.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
That'd be like 4. I'm kidding. There's more of you out there.
Hey, if we get all of our YouTube subscribers to come through.
Hey.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well.
We pay for their tickets.
What tickets?
From Patreon. They pay for their tickets because they can't all live like close.
They don't all subscribe to the Patreon.
No. Okay, if they subscribe to the Patreon, we pay their tickets.
All right, we got 30 episodes to figure out how we're going to make this happen. Tim's going to do what's called End Babble here in a couple minutes where he talks nonsense. But before we get to that, if you're interested in some extra bonuses, you can hang out with us at patreon.com/thekeepup. You get a bonus podcast. You get some extra videos, food challenges, all kinds of fun stuff on there.
Got some Christmas-themed ones that our mom...
Oh, yeah.
made for us.
Yeah, it was...
and she's also in them, at least her voice.
Yeah.
So if you want to see our mother or us suffer from 2 challenges that we were not prepared for.
Yeah, you get both those things in both those videos.
Yes. Those should be out, I think, next week.
Next week?
Next week.
Let's get it, dude.
Christmas week, guys.
Christmas week. It's going to be fun. You can also find us on all socials at the Keep Up Podcast. Again, if you are not, please check out the YouTube channel. I would love for you guys to check out the new video format, leave some comments there, show some love over there. Tim, where can everybody find you and your other work?
You guys can find me at Collection Revolution on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Twitch, on everywhere. You know, social media. Type in the name. I'm there. Brett.
What?
Where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at thisdrinkilikeit. That is my personal Instagram. You can hang out with me there. But there's also a link tree that'll get you to my other podcasts and streaming stuff and music and all that. Tim.
Yes.
Your theme.
For the final podcast of the year.
Oh my gosh, is this it?
This is it.
Wow.
We're not doing one next week.
You're right. Listen, happy holidays.
Have a great holiday.
Happy New Year. Be safe. Take care of each other.
Everything Brett said, but plus 2 for me.
Yeah, multiply it by at least 2.
Yep.
And what else? I don't know. Anything else? Any other?
I don't know. Keep your eyes open. We should be doing the live streams of just gameplays, of food challenges, of just random stuff on Twitch. We'll be doing that at the start of next year.
Yeah.
But just have a great life.
I forgot this was our life. Have a great life. Thank you guys for an awesome year. It's been really cool putting out new content and meeting some new people through the podcast and hearing from new listeners and old listeners alike.
Yeah, I feel like this year, we're doing a reflection like right at the very end, but this year
That's when you do a reflection.
Yeah, you reflect at the end.
Exactly.
It's been just good for the channel in general and good for the podcast, and we've been doing a lot of things to make it new, make it fresh.
Fresh and fun and rich and real.
All of those things.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That being said,
yes,
the final end babble of 2023. Tim, your theory is...
My theory?
What did I say?
Theory.
That's weird.
My theory. Dude, I don't think you've ever messed up and babble.
Why did I say that?
Your theory is...
I'm looking... Like, did I look at something that says...
I don't have a game theory thing around here.
That's very strange.
Okay. Anyways. My theory is...
Tim, your theme for End Babble is... Starship Holiday Justice.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. We love you. We'll see you soon.
The greedy corporations of Starshipula have taken hold of all the innocent little duckies. Many of them say, Mommy, I must go home for the holidays. But Starshipula says, no, we must take your little duck feet and put them on our own so we can swim through the sea that is space. But the gift of life is born within the ducks, and justice will prevail as one duck stands tall, taller than any other duck. His name is Franklin, the ugly duckling, of course, and he shall take on the Starshipula Empire with a meaty claw and one less eyeball. And so I'll leave you with this. Protect the ducks. Make sure to cut those little soda things so they don't choke. Turtles choke on them. A lot of things choke on them. But, if you get soda and you got those little plastic things, snip, snip. But not your balls. Because Christmas is more than just your balls.